Hello, today's episode number 148 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses updated return statistics for U.S. states which have them. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. territory of the Northern Mariana Islands. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I went over the rising costs of casinos from my weekly live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Further, I reviewed North Dakota slot machine casino gambling in 2021. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to sign up at courses.professorslots.com to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts. 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. Here's the audio recording of my latest live stream Q&A session. Good morning, everybody. Someone in the live chat was just saying, John, it's time to go live. And I'm like, I know. There's a 20 second delay put into the system. So what I just said, what you just heard, I said 20 seconds ago. So I suppose I should start broadcasting 20 seconds early so I'm on time. Anyway, latency. Welcome to my today's live stream. We, as you might think, I'm a little bit disorganized today, but you'll see that I'm not at all. Just want to say welcome to everybody. First off, well, there's several things to say. It is September 11th. And the 20th anniversary of that thing that happened to us that probably doesn't need to be discussed, but it is on my mind and I imagine on yours. Second, Isaac ate a daisy. So you may hear him barking in the background. He's completely recovered, down and up, and took him to the vet and all of that. And now he's just super energetic. And you may hear him. I guess I just gave him a bone, and so he might be good for like 10 minutes, but otherwise it's going to be bark, 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 bark. Right. So wanted to say thank you, Chuck, for your donation. He says in his super chat, helping family move today. Fun. Yeah. We'll catch the replay, but wanted to say hello in person. Hello, Chuck. Welcome. And let's see, a couple of updates. The course is now being offered. If I should share that. If you go to professorslots.com, you'll see a link over here to get my online course. I attempted to sell it for more and I messed it up. So I will figure out how to not increase it by $100 some other time. Perhaps, less would help people transition. So it is back at $97. And we can talk about that, but you've seen me talk about that enough. Let me not share that. Today, we're going to talk about return statistics. I got a question, I think it was during last week's live stream, which was, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. What, the casinos are really kind of going tight and going loose. And what the heck is that all about? And one of the things that happens is it can be subjective. Sometimes if you're feeling just the emotion of the day, your experience was maybe different from the crowd's experience. And so maybe you lost and maybe the casino overall didn't, or vice versa. I'm trying to create situations where everybody else loses, but you win. That's what my strategies are about. But people have been saying, I go in and I win, then I go in, try to do the same thing, same day, same time, and instead of winning, lose. And, that's a puzzler. So it has been a crazy 2 years. All the casinos closed last year. It might happen again this year. I hope not. But if it happens, then it happens. But we've been through it once last year. And so, a lot of people have these feelings and their observations, and some people are better observers than others. You've been with me for a while. You may have gotten improved in your observation skills because it can help you win. And I go into detail about that at my winning strategies. But today I wanted to say, let's look at the statistics. Let's look at the return statistics given to the state from casinos in that state. There are a bunch. I'm thinking it's 18, but it might be 17. So there's slow changes over time. 18 states that provide monthly return statistics. There's a few others that do like annual. And then there's 6 that do return statistics broken down by slot machine denomination. Now, most of these are by casino, but places like Louisiana will combine a bunch of casinos in a certain portion of the state. So they separate this out by region. Now, what we're looking at here today is win percent. This is a bunch of statistics. It's a bunch of numbers. I found it very relaxing and calming yesterday after worrying so much about Isaac being sick and while he recovered, that I did 6-9 hours of just typing in numbers and producing graphs. And so we're going to look through some of that and look at these trends that I'm finding. But I want to explain to you what it is that we're doing. So I've seen some people on my Facebook group, which doesn't require anybody to have taken the course or anything, there's a few of us are trying to, hold the line who have taken the course. But a lot of people are like, what's a payout percentage? And usually what happens is there's 2 and they get confused. And so I will briefly say there is a theoretical payout return, which is a state requirement. It is not a number. It is a range. So Ohio, it's 85%, a minimum theoretical payout of 85%, a maximum. Okay. We have and I will show it in a moment. It has to sort of appear here. Frisky 7 gave me $1.77 in support of the show. I appreciate the donation very much, and I'll show it as soon as it kind of shows up on the screen. But Ohio, the state of Ohio, U.S. state of Ohio, has an 85%. 85% minimum theoretical payout. This is the lower limit, for which slot machines cannot drop below by law. It isn't telling casinos to be at 75%. There you are, Fisky 7. They're not saying that they have to be at 75%. They say they have to be over 75% or over. And by over, it could be over 100%. Now, why would they? Well, that's the topic of some of my strategies. They might do an isolated slot machine to encourage the rest of the crowd, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that before plenty of times. So, but if you go over to Pennsylvania, they too have a minimum theoretical payout of 85%, which is the setting that it can't be set below. And that's, and we'll be going, I'll show you more about these, but the point I'm trying to make is, and I'll get to the chat in a little bit. I see messages coming in. Look, great messages, but, right. So in Pennsylvania, it is also minimum theoretical payout of 85%, but they have a maximum too of, less than 100%, so 99.999. The cats are rambunctious. Last time they killed the power to the camera, and I had to switch cameras. Later, they'll be sleeping in the sun, going, "Well, I had a busy day today." So it's been a little crazy in the house lately with the dog being sick and the cats being young. So Pennsylvania has a lower limit and an upper limit. Now, one other bit of a detail, and I've talked about this in the course. I talk about this occasionally here, but I haven't done it as much lately, is to talk about if there's these theoretical limits, that there is a further details which are important. And this live stream is not about theoretical payouts, but I need to tell you that this is one of the two kinds of payouts people talk about, and it's the one we're not going to talk about. But the detail is this minimum, sometimes maximum, and it's not all states have this. Is it per bet, or is it over the lifetime of the machine? Now, if it's a machine that's only been there for like 3 days because it just showed up at the front of the casino, and it's a lifetime requirement, then there's hardly any difference. If nobody likes it, they have to get rid of it, and they have to make sure that their statistics are above that 75%. A lot of people like to go in and play new machines, and they wonder why they lose. And this is a little detail that can help them have more confidence that they won't lose terribly on a new machine if the state gaming requirements on the theoretical payouts says lifetime, or says per bet. And that's something to keep in mind. Now, the other kind of payout is anybody do business, right? You have a business plan, and then for a month, like October, and then at the end of October, you have statistics, you have your actuals, your accounting says this is what came in, this is what out, this is taxes, da da da. So there's also another kind of payout called actuals, or sometimes just returns. And that's what we're going to talk about. So there's two, they're related. There's win percent and hold percent. And what these are is, 0 to whatever number. If you have somebody who won $7 million on a $5 denominator progressive, something like that in Nevada, you might get over 100%, but it's fairly rare, and it's usually because one person won a lot more than usual. So it's a percentage. It's related to like Ohio has 75%, so it should be above that. It doesn't absolutely have to be, but it should be, and generally is. Otherwise, it's a sign of a problem, guys. Can you see him taking a bath? That is Emil, and Emil has been having arguments with Hetty, but I think Hetty is the instigator, so I'm trying to puzzle it out. I think the primary problem is they're young. In any case, 2 new rescues I got a couple months ago. So this actuals, these returns, these win percent, you really have to look at the rules. And I'm doing all this for you. I'm presenting win percent as how much a player wins. They put this much money in, or rather, I should say, the overall for a casino in a particular month. And I'm looking at casino averages and then also state averages for all the casinos in the state. And that means I see messages out of the corner of my eye. That means that the win percent, that's what that means. Now, the hold percent is how much the casino made. And sometimes the state gaming commissions will say hold percent and mean win percent, or say win percent and mean hold percent. But I will be providing win percent for the casino, for the player at per state, and I'll do a little bit of a breakdown by casino or region in the states as we go through them. The win percent, player win percent, is how much they spent total, perhaps in a state or perhaps in a casino, how much they spent in a month in a casino, and then there's also how much they won. So 1 divided by spend, and take that and make that a percentage, and that is how much the win percent is. So let us let us take a look at here. So this is a little bit heavy with data. It's partly why I'm not doing a script, because I want to show you graphs. Now, I apologize to the podcast listeners. I'll try to be verbose and explain what I'm seeing here, what we're all seeing here on the live stream. And I also want to apologize to the people who are looking on, okay. Apologize for my bumping the cord for audio. Right. And we have questions coming in, and the questions, I'll get to those when it's a good time for a break. So this is my main website. If you hover your mouse over this section, if you're on a phone, you kind of have to, it's 3 lines, and you have to sort of open it up, and you can go to my summary article, which is going to be, I do an article in every state, and I want to talk about several of those states. So what we're getting to is return statistics, and this is the return statistics. Let me get off the screen, make that full screen so you can see it. Now, I'm going to go through these and explain them. This is the data. And we talked about what data it is. It's win percent, and it's for a state. This display is for a state average for a month. The red is where there's no information available. The yellow is where we're at. Some states are like 4 months behind. Ohio is one of those. It's not shown on here. And I got as far as about halfway through Rhode Island. New York, Kentucky, and Ohio are a little more computationally intensive, and my dog was sick. So my dog ate my homework, but I'll fill these out as time permits. And of course, when I give you an update in a couple of months, the yellow will be extended further up, and we'll have data for July. So some states are 3 months behind, 2 months behind, and others like Indiana they already, it's September 11th and they already have August's posted. So that's how quickly it can be. Now, right. So if I take you to where this data came from, because you're getting a snapshot right now of what we're doing and what I'm doing, and it will need to be updated. So I want to show you what's the expression? What's the expression? Teach you to fish, not just give you fish. I'll give you some fish, but I also want to teach you how to fish, because to get the most recent month is best to see how things are going as we look at whether or not these things are going up or going down, or both, depending on the month. So if we go to the summary article, this is, again, where the summary is. I'll put the link in the description and in the show notes. It's professorslots.com/ professorslots.com/online-resource. And I'll have that in the show notes and description. So there's also links here, guys, to the Facebook groups. By the way, Professor Slots Enthusiasts has stopped having 300 new members every day. This was all being done because Facebook was promoting it. I wasn't paying them to do so because you can't with gambling or related, or having written a book. Get out of here, guys. Going to turn off my camera on me. Anyway, again, it's dropped to 3, 4 a day, and that's just because Facebook decided that was enough. But 6,000 in August was great. So now I'm just a little bit shy of 13,000 members on my Professor Slots Enthusiast, but it was giving me grief. All the stuff that was happening, just really more and more every day. Now, one of the cats, if you like cats, is hiding behind me while the other one is like, I'm going to get you. And so there's a spray bottle right over there, but is it play? Ow! John, next time wear shoes. Okay, enough of the entertainment. So we're looking at the data here. For Florida, let's start with that. This is the graph, and I want to show you just Florida. So that's the graph of everything. So I will show you just Florida, and this is Miami-Dade and Broward counties. This is the only return statistics we get from Florida. We don't get it for the tribal casinos. We only get it for the commercial casinos, but only those in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. near Miami. So we have a gap here. This is how most or all of these are going to look. This is beginning in 2019, ending with the most recently available, as of this morning, most recently available stats. This is for Florida, and there's a gap here from when they closed for the pandemic in 2020. And we had talked about a few of these, but it's been lately. This is, immediately after they reopened, they wanted to make money, so the returns were low. But then they jumped back up once they felt they made a couple months worth of money for their losses. And then they were pretty steady about getting people back in, but then they dropped a bit. And now they kind of came back up to this last one is for June. So that's the most recent data we have for Florida, and they kind of ticked it back up a little bit. And so this one isn't too bad. They, over a year, roughly from last June to this July, this June, it tanked, shot back up, kind of came back down, and maybe it's starting to level back out to what it was in 2019 before all this started happening. But it's been down and up. But I was thinking maybe every month, and this is more like over several months. So let's take a look where all this came from. So you have it. And we'll go do that here. I'm going to skim on down. These are summary statements. We'll try Florida. And so this is my article for Florida. I last did it in 2020 and December 29th, barely 2020. It has an introduction. It has the video that I make, the podcast episode where I talk about it, legal statutes, slot machine private ownership, and what are the rules, a bit on the gaming control board, but there's a separate set after casinos, tribal casinos, neighboring casinos, the Facebook group. Then just before the summary, see there's the summary, just before the summary is payout and returns. And this is the structure on all my state-by-state articles. So this is at the time when I wrote this, October 2020 was available, and I listed them here for you. But if you go to this link that I provide and go to the Gaming Commission for Florida, then you can see all of these. So the most recent here is the full year, or at least up to this point. And so we have data for Gulfstream Park with credits in, credits out. You divide those two, the second one by the first one, and take it a percentage, and then you get what I show on my graph. And then there's Big Easy, Pompano Park, Magic City, Calder, Miami Casino, Hialeah Park, Dania Beach, and then totals. So when I show you this, I'm taking that information and this is that information. This is the percentage. Now, if you want to see, this is the state totals, only that last entry. But, and we can always see the fluctuations. That's what we're looking for. If I show you Florida's, yes, there is a total for Miami-Dade and Broward counties, but we also have the individual casinos that are in those two counties from the beginning of 2019. I did 2019 because it was all before the pandemic. We wanted to see what normal looked like when we compare all this. So you've seen some of this before, but now it's updated with the latest information. So let me zoom in a bit so we can kind of fill the screen here. Yeah. So it's about 90% to about 94%. You can, and sometimes people say, well, it's slot machines are random. And I'm like, well, yes, they are random, but they're not random like dice. If they were random where the wheels were freely turning like roulette wheels, the odds are around 3% that we'll win. Anytime we made a bet, we would win 3% of the time, not somewhere between 90 and 94%. So the odds have been weighted. It's called a weighted average. So that it's a different kind of random, but still random. There's more than one kind of random. I remember when my mind kind of blew up when I first heard that. I think it was a different day from the time they told me, there's different size infinities, right? Anyway, this is the player win percent for Florida's 8 commercial casinos in 2000. Well, it's more like for 3 years now. And if I were to hover over this one, you can see it's Isle Pompano, and it is generally the lowest. And so when I talk to people about, it's not random, it's random, but a different kind of random than they're thinking. And I say casinos, stay within the theoretical payout returns, but they, it's not a number that the state gives them, but rather a limit. And so they have a wide range to work within. And so each casino decides what their business requirements are and chooses a return for players. And Pompano happens, out of these 8 casinos, happens to almost, all but for 2 years, 2.5 years. There's one time here and one time there where they were not the lowest. And that's their business decision. Now, up here, you've got, let's see if I can over it. Hialeah Park in green and Magic City in brown, and they are competing for the top spot, the best returns. And if you live in Miami-Dade and Broward counties, maybe you'd want to know that. I mean, and so this is 2019 in the left side of the graph, but over on the right, and then we have this kind of like, it's always, if you go to every state and you look at this, the pandemic was immediately after the pandemic was like a mess, right? They're trying to make money back, but back and forth, they don't know what to do. It's all new experience, but then they get back to steady. So Florida, for Magic City and for Hialeah Park, has been steady. And people going there are likely not to have that whole up and down experience some of us are seeing. But if you go to Pompano, it has been up and down, and basically up and down at the lowest. so all the others are above them, but they are still bouncing back and forth. Quite a gap between the two. Remember, to help you calibrate, that when you think about payout returns, 2.5% is worthy of a backflip. But I can't do it. You're just so happy that it went up. And how much did it go up? About 2.5%. If it drops 2.5%, you feel like it's just a terrible day. And that's what we're talking about. That would be from here to about here. So about half the band here, if that's what's changing in front of you, you don't like it. So, and may I point out, none of this is like near 75%. Dropping 25%, 20% would be disastrous for casinos. People would riot. 2.5% is worthy of a backflip. So what we have, these others, like here we have Calder, and they've been climbing the last few months. But then, and you've got this is this black line here. Let me show you how that works. The state average, with all those casinos that are high but stay high, all those casinos that are low but stay low, the state average has been, even flatter than it was in 2019. But it's the combination of all of these casinos coming together and having, this band of returns. Some of them are actually near the state average. Here we have Dania Beach, and it's kind of bouncing up above and below the black line, which is the average. Okay, so the process here that I want to work through, and I will quickly go through the other states for you. But before I do that, I will get ready, and we will. I'll take a look at the questions that I saw coming in on the live stream. So coming back to the live chat, there's been questions. Let's get to them. Right. We had some questions before everything started about doing well on TikTok. I got 27,000 views. Normally I get like 5. Normally it's been like a week, beginning of last week. And so not even that, September 1st, 11 days. And taking to it. Did you see the live stream? Was it last time or the time before? They sent me a video on TikTok of Isaac getting training, and it was like 49 seconds of just happy dog, following instructions, and it was pretty awesome. But then I realized, I'd created a TikTok account, but I hadn't been using it. Someone else had spoofed it, had faked one. Instead of @ProfessorSlots, they had @Professor_Slots. Turns out he was a fan. They were a fan, might even be in the live stream. And I'm happy to see that people were interested in his, and he decided to stop. It's just like a battle's raging here. And so now I've been posting every day for September so far. So 11 videos are up. Let's see. Haley, crocodile free sheet music. We've been chatting a lot elsewhere. Sheltering in sounds like he's having to deal with the pandemic. Some side conversations. Winds are slowly getting more usual now, and just the casino. He's somewhere in Europe after a few months of aperture. Okay. Jack Black, 26. Glad to get to join my first live today. I've learned so much from you, and it has made me a more informed gambler. Thank you, Professor Slots. You're quite welcome. Quite welcome. Let's see if there's a question in this list. So question, how much money do you bet max or low bets when you play 5 turns on slot machine? This is my golden rule of slots. Whatever you can comfortably afford to lose, whatever you take to the casino, you need to be comfortable with having lost it, because it doesn't always work out. And if you're risking your mortgage or your rent, don't do that. So whatever you're comfortable with. Now, there's some people who are not comfortable with a dollar bet. Okay. It's a myth that bigger denominations have better returns. It's a myth. It's very popular misconception. I went to Nevada. We'll be looking at return statistics, but not by slot machine denomination. I went to Nevada one time, and I was shocked. 1 month on just the strip, they were actually in order by denomination, and I'm like, well, I guess it can happen, for since 1935 it hasn't, but okay, great. But we have, so you don't need to bet more to win more. You will bet that's a misconception. You have the opportunity to win more, but the odds aren't better to win more. This is all the concept of win percent, which I'm assuming people understand payout returns. So how much should you bet? I like to be able to bet. This is not the 5-pull method. What I like to do is, okay, we'll talk about the 5-pull method. That's really what your question is. Minimum bets, whatever your casino has, minimum bets first to see if they have tastes, which is the 5-spin method, is collecting tastes. So be cheap about it. It doesn't matter what machine it is. If the casino has it, the casino has it. It's not some machines. You won't win on every machine, even if they do have it, but you can follow the test procedure that I provided of playing 20 machines, if more than half of them give you anything at all, non-zero win, then they have it. But did you make a profit? 2 evaluations. So first, check to see if they have it. Now, I have fans who are just like, nope, I'm going to high limits. I'm going to high limits. And I'm like, maybe check first, please. But we're all gamblers. So I would minimum bets. And then if the test passes, if it has it, and hopefully if you make a profit, bet like normal. And in general, when you bet like normal, you bet what you can comfortably afford to lose. All right. It's a responsible thing to do. Okay. Letitia, it's been a while. Welcome. Okay. Conversations between everybody. Good. Joyce, I'd like to know about Louisiana. It seems like Lake Charles area casinos, our Golden Nugget and Le Berg, are tighter than ever before, I guess because of the time they had shut down for COVID. We talked about this in a prior episode when I showed the first part of this data. I'm updating now for most of 2021. And, Louisiana is after Mississippi, New Jersey, Indiana, Iowa, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and then Louisiana. So we're going to quickly go through these, and I hope you don't miss it. And Devin, what is the standard deviation of Nevada's values? Recent news reports indicates Nevada's record revenue levels. If the payout value seems stable, then could they reassert that revenue is from other things? All very good questions. And the standard deviation, there's many. I mean, I don't mean different kinds of standard deviation. I mean, standard deviation of what? So I'm going to take your second question first, which is the revenue from other things? No, it is not. Because when we go to Nevada, and I need to speed things up, when we go there, it actually says where the money comes from. Is it promotional dollars? Is it people winning on slot machines? Is it one of 15 different table games? Nevada will even say what the denomination is, and it break it down by casino revenue as well as location. So you have the strip, and there's like 8 different sheets on that because you have the really high revenue casinos and the low revenue, and you have downtown and you have North Las Vegas. All this is broken up into endless detail. So yes, we know where it comes from. Now, when they do their summary, we do have a statewide. We don't have do we have a Las Vegas wide? We might have might make a Las Vegas wide available, but they do a statewide, absolutely. And it won't be stable. I mean, we're seeing some in our graphs now. We can see some of these are stable. I mean, just look at this one here. Which one is that? That is Illinois. The most stable one is Illinois, and this is not the casinos. This is the bars and taverns run by where the machines are run remotely by the lottery system. So they're just. And if you're asking if that's going to happen, well, we can see if it ever happened again. Let's look at. Well, actually, we have a couple of questions that are very well related. So let's do Louisiana and keep going here. Questions so this is Louisiana. If for statewide, and let's see, this is April, May, June. That's most recent that's available. But so it's been going up. But in March, April, May, it was the lowest it's been since beginning of 2019. And maybe that was your question, Joyce. Furthermore, I have additional data on Louisiana, which is by region. As I mentioned, some states do this where they collect a bunch of casinos in a particular region. And then I also have a total. So You were asking about Lake Charles, maybe. So Lake Charles has a certain number of casinos, and if we look at that, we have two spikes here. Let's see if I can bring this in a little bit for you. Right. So in Lake Charles in October last year, they did a spike. Remember, I said 2.5% is worthy of a backflip. So this is almost 94, and typically they're right around 90.5. So that was a jump of 3.5%. So something happened that month. Also at Shreveport, at one of the casinos, Shreveport Bossier, in August, something also happened then. Now we're getting a climb lately in Lake Charles of improvement, but I wouldn't say it's exactly stable. So I wonder what the next month is going to be, continuing up or dropping down. From what you said, I would say it's probably going to drop based on your experience. So they can jump quite a bit. And this is all you get from this is you can expect change. Now, we didn't see so much from Illinois. We didn't see so much from Florida, or at least some of the casinos in Florida. So this is seems both to be happening. Some places have been very stable, like Devin was saying. Are these? Can we expect it to be stable? Can we not? Well, past history has shown, and this is not odds. This is deliberate. I want my number here, set to here. And so the casino does that. And so if they want it to be stable, it'll be stable. If they don't want it to be stable, that might be all they've ever done. So let's switch to back to just Nevada. Come on. So I'll swing this over to Nevada for you. This is about this band right here is 1%, up to here is 2%. So 1%, 0.5% is one bar. And so lately it's been jumping up and down by 0.5. Now, if we put these with all the others, and I probably should have done that first, you'll see that they are all high. This top one here, boom, 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 boom. That's Nevada, just high. No real competition. Now this year, or really since March, they've got one competitor in Colorado who beat them, and then another one from Rhode Island who beat them and put them in the second place instead of first place. So when I last presented this, I was showing you these numbers several months ago, earlier in the year. But now that we see they're bringing them down a little bit, New Jersey, that's stable. That's what stable looks like. See Nevada, that's not what stable looks like. I think actual data instead of opinion, actual data is a better way to answer your question about whether Nevada will become stable. All right. Questions. Oh, darn it. Yes, this top is Nevada, and you can see how, like, New Jersey down here is, that's New Jersey. This is Nevada, and Nevada is still swinging, and this is what non-swinging around. This is what stable looks like from New Jersey. And let's see here. Haley has a question about how do stats work. This is not a stats course. I'm going to let you figure out what averages mean. Caught alive. Sheila caught alive. Excellent. And does my system work in Vegas? Most of my videos seem to deal with tribal casinos. Okay. Um, I don't know how you got that impression. Oh, I get it. I had a series recently on what does it mean to be a tribal casino. I guess you've just been looking at those. Right. So absolutely. Five spin method seems to work at most casinos on the strip. Less casinos downtown. If you feel like you want to learn more, you can join my Facebook group. Not everybody likes the Facebook groups, probably for good reason. But you can join my Nevada group. So professorslots.com/FBNV. And that's the shortcut, and it'll take you right there. Yeah, I'm sure in a month or so, when I haven't done a tribal video, people will be like, "Why don't you do a tribal video? You're biased against them." Let's see. When I watch live stream slot play, it seems like bigger. Okay, excellent question. When I watch live stream slot play, it seems like bigger, higher bets get bonuses more often. Is this true or just an illusion? It's an illusion. Even Brian Christopher has completely, has said out loud and on tape, he says, remove long losing streaks. Also, and this is part of the myth of misunderstanding, and I'm trying to make a dent in people's misunderstandings. I guess people find it more exciting for them when people play bigger bets. Doesn't necessarily mean the odds are better. So I did a survey at the beginning of this year, and I asked them, what's your main problem, and several other questions. And they said, well, I don't have enough money to bring to the casino. If I brought more money, I'd win more often. Whoa, that's dangerous. It's also not true. I mean, you might win more because you played longer, but you wouldn't win percentage-wise, win percent. You might not be able to spend, $10,000 or like these slots players, $40,000. That's what they make per month. And they'll tell you themselves in some of their videos. And I figured out a third goes to taxes. Am I wrong? A third goes to taxes. And so that's maybe 15,000. So that leaves them with 25,000. Half of what they make, 20,000 will go back in. And so they will play slot machines. So that leaves them with 5,000 of profit after taxes, after paying into the slot machines, 5,000 per month, and they make about $60,000 a year. Easy math. And they're trying to make more money by that's Lady Luck. She showed her numbers, and it's easy enough to do a further analysis from what she didn't show. Brian Christopher, he does several a day. He's probably at around $4 million income, not profit. He, again, 1/3 to taxes, half to playing slots, and the rest goes to his team on payment. And I hope that he's able to save something. Right. So, Succassel, Florida Hard Rock, Hollywood. That's a tribal casino. According to the state gaming requirements, they don't have to, the compact. So if you were to go back to my Florida article, I write up all of that. So you understand, and I'll share that. So you understand, these are all the casinos in the state. You can see there's a concentration of them in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. these others, are tribal casinos. That's really close to Miami, but under the return, let's see where we're at. Under the Gaming Control Board, I talk about how there is commercial, but there's also the IGRA, the federal, and how they have a gaming compact, and so that's kept separate, and they have different rules. And so you only have returns from Miami. Now, we don't have returns from every state, but you can learn, if your state doesn't have returns, you can learn from all these other states. And you can see that they bounce up and down. You can see that they're stable. And now if you sense that your casinos are tight then loose, sure. It's completely possible. Now, if every one of these was like stable, which is interesting because one's stable down here and one's stable up there, this is data that shows casinos have their control, and they have their choices and their business goals, and they decide that they're going to be low or they decide that they're going to be high. But if they were all stable and your state doesn't have return statistics, then it's a good chance that your state's going to be like everybody else. But that's not the case. So far, we've looked at these, and we should get back to that and see how each state is stable or not. So I'm going to come back to here, and I'm going to quickly go through Mississippi. Statewide, it looks like this: up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't change the scale over here on the side, so it's just back and forth, back and forth. They took a lot of money from people just when they knew they were going to close but hadn't yet closed. When they opened back again, they took almost as much. I mean, this goes back to the beginning of 2019. They didn't get above, it wasn't until August last year that they actually reached what they'd done at any point, at the worst, they'd done in 2019. And ever since then, okay, they were okay. But then they dropped below 2019, any number in 2019 in March of this year, stayed there, brought it up once, back down, brought it up. So that's just back and forth. And that's, if you're feeling that, then you're feeling that. But if we go to Mississippi, we can also break it up. We can see which casinos did that, or rather, I should say, which regions, because there's several. Hello, that's a nice cat. And so 3 states did, or rather, it's 3 regions in Mississippi with the. And we could look at my article, go to my article, understand the structure for that state, for the gaming and the reporting. And if it even has it, if it doesn't, 18 of them do. And this graph shows you the plotting of the data since beginning of 2019. Look at July, most recent data available. Now, the dark line here, no, not the dark line, the gray line. Nope. I want to. I don't have. Oh, Mississippi. Right. So the yellowish, the lightest color, is the state average. So this kind of light orange, not the dark orange. Look what happened. It went from maybe just about the lowest to just about the highest, certainly for the last 2 years. And so July was a good month. Now I wonder if it's going to be back down here for August, because it's been back and forth. So that's just a lot of travel, a lot of back and forth. And that's what's going on there. Pet. Okay. That's Kiri. She's a nice one, but she does like attention occasionally. Okay. We can go back and look at, that's Mississippi. Have we done New Jersey? New Jersey, they dropped to a very low number after the pandemic, on average, slowly rose to give some money back, went over their lowest for the previous 2 years. Back in January, this is when they reopened some of the casinos, and Atlantic City was making a revival. But if we look at it by casino, it's there's a few casinos, so it makes it all kind of like messy. But you can see that consistently that Harrah's is across the top. You've seen that before. And they decided to pretty much stay where they were. But everybody else dropped. So it's like a gap between Harrah's and all the other casinos. It was the case that Borgata was wonderful, and they're still second best, but they decided to drop as well. And then you've got what is it? Ocean, who they weren't too bad when they first got started, but by the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, they were just bottoming out, and they aren't always the lowest this year, but they often are. So that's a business decision where they decided that as long as they stay above, I think New Jersey's 75% theoretical payout minimum. So as long as they stay well above that. But if you feel like you're losing when you're at Ocean and you feel like you're winning when you're at Harrah's, but it's clearly available. Now, because, consistently high for Harrah's means we don't have, this month, because this month isn't over, but you could begin to look at this and say, they don't do a lot of swinging back and forth. This might be a time to go to Atlantic City, but we are short, August. We don't have August yet. And maybe if you get August, you can make a decision about that. Right. So let me get through. Let me check the questions, because when you talk about stats, you can talk about them quite a bit. So I'm going to stop there and summarize by saying some states go back and forth every month, and they may be recovering from the pandemic, and they usually did that. They don't wait. It's been a while, more than a year and a half. When they reopened, April, May 2020, they got their money back then. Probably all the majority of what they needed, and felt that they needed. And now they just keep things generally low. This is what we can see in the overall win percentage for the 15 different states that I'm trying to cover here. But you begin to see whether or not they become stable with time. So let me share that on the screen so we all have that in front of us. And I know it can be a mess to look at some of these graphs and it's just numbers. But if you look at a graph like this and zoom in on it, and you look at the last few months, you can see it's been stable for some of these. But on others, like here for Mississippi, not so much. And that Nevada has been coming down. When I presented on this early in the year, I'm like, look at that, baby. They're trying to recover. But they have dropped into that gap where others are better than them in some months. And so, what does this mean? It means that, if you look at November or Nevada for a year and a half back here, this is their typical behavior. And now they're a little bit below all that. So if it becomes stable, again, New Jersey, that's what stable looks like. Here, Indiana, that's what stable looks like. I'm not seeing that in Nevada. Kissy Cat says the newest Resorts World casino on the Strip is not paying much. Everyone seems disappointed. If you go to professorslots.com/ABC27, that will take you to an interview that I gave with Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Evening News, like the 11 o'clock news. ABC 27. And if you go there, you can look at their analysis that I helped them with, where they're looking at their local casino and the best odds of that casino, their nearby casino, was on the week that the year that they opened. It's the same way with downtown Cincinnati. It was second best was the second year, and the third year they decided to lower the numbers, and all my friends went into bankruptcy. But I was writing a book at that point, so I did not. Same thing was Belterra Park in Ohio, which is where I live, but Belterra Park only did it for a month, and then they dropped it. So how long has Resorts been open? It'll be very interesting to look at their data by month. And I don't know that it's necessarily out yet. All right. Right. Yes. And I want to mention that I do have an online course if you're interested. It explains all of this. I'm making this, I have to figure out how to do it clearly. My statistics don't come out very clearly except in video. And if I put it in an article, you can't zoom in. It's not interactive. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to make it available. But I feel it's valuable. So it's going to be behind a paywall. I mean, this won't be. But in order to get your hands on it, take the course. Sign up for my Slots Enthusiast Growth Network, and that's behind a paywall, both of them. And you get first month's access to the Slots Enthusiast Growth Network by purchasing the online course. It's currently at $100 off discount. And so if you go to my online course, you can see here, discounted 50% off. Courses.professorslots.com. If you're interested in my community, for which you get a free month's worth paid community, if you go to that'll work. Community.professorslots.com. Well, this is me logged in, so I probably have to do it. I'd have to do it without privately. So what I'm trying to say is I'm going to put these statistics there because it is, took me hours and days, and I've been working on it for this last year, and just, but I've shown you how you can do it yourself for your state of interest. Busy Mommy Reviews. Hey, it's been a while. Do you know if Seminole Casino Brighton still does one of your famous slots method? Number one, the 5-pull method. I haven't been to see my father and his wife, who was so interested in this. She passed away last year, and suddenly. And so, they had it. I think what happened, from what I heard, and maybe Lois and Dave can comment because they're often on the live chat, and they still go there. The whole family likes to play bingo there, but I think it became more of a break-even situation. They didn't lose the 5-pull method, but it became more of a break-even situation. But I haven't been back since that trip that I took well before the pandemic. It's something I want to do, is get out that way again, partly to see my father, partly to see Dave and Lois, but also maybe go over to Hard Rock Tampa and stick my head into that place and see what I lose. Yes, my father's second wife, not my mother, wonderful person. Really enjoyed her slots. She got a hand pay, and then she came to me and she's like, I want another one. How do I do that? So that's why I flew down there to see my father and to help her out. And that was early days. Yeah. But thank you. Okay. I am over, and I will talk to everyone later. It's a 20-year anniversary of that tragic event. I don't know about you, but I think about where I was at the time. So 20-year anniversary, just wanted to acknowledge that. Have fun, be safe, make good choices. Bye. Remember to sign up at courses.professorslots.com to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts, 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. This is the next segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is Northern Mariana Islands slot machine casino gambling in 2021. Here goes. Northern Mariana Islands slot machine casino gambling consists of 7 commercial casinos. 5 of these casinos are on the island of Saipan, with the remainder in San Jose on the island of Tinian. International cruise ship casinos are open while docked. This U.S. territory in the South Pacific is officially the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, CNMI, near the U.S. territory of Guam, located west of the Philippines and north of Queensland, Australia. The minimum legal gambling age in the Northern Mariana Islands depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos and poker rooms, it's 21. For bingo, the lottery, and parimutuel wagering, it's not available. Saipan's legislature legalized gambling in 2014. This occurred without a vote by residents after years of rejection by mostly Catholic voters. As recently as 2017, new gaming regulations were under development. Recent gambling changes in CNMI have been dramatic. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. territory and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. Private ownership of a slot machine on the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands is unknown. Article 21 of the Constitution of the U.S. Territory of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands prohibits gambling except as provided by Commonwealth law or established through an initiative in the Commonwealth or in any senatorial district. Saipan has its Commonwealth Casino Commission established through an initiative in the Commonwealth, while Tinian has a Tinian Casino Gaming Control Commission established through its senatorial district. In this section, I'll discuss Northern Mariana Islands gambling establishments. There are 7 casinos in the Northern Mariana Islands, not including onboard casinos and visiting international cruise ships. The largest casino in CNMI is Plumeria Gold and Casino Resort. The second largest casino is Imperial Pacific Resort. There are 5 casinos on CNMI's island of Saipan and 2 casinos on its island of Tinian. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list is on my webpage for this territory at professorslots.com/MP. CNMI has no federally recognized American Indian tribes and therefore no tribal casinos. As an alternative to enjoying Northern Mariana Islands slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state or territory. Bordering the Northern Mariana Islands is, to the east, Hawaii, to the south, Guam, and to the southeast, American Samoa. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states and territories, simply visit professorslots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Hawaii slots article is available at professorslots.com/HI. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts in the Northern Mariana Islands? If so, join our Northern Mariana Islands slots community on Facebook at professorslots.com/FBMP. All you'll need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences as well as chat with players about slots gambling on or near the Northern Mariana Islands. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook. professorslots.com/FBMP. Join us. No theoretical payout limits are available for CNMI. Furthermore, slot machine payout return statistics are not available to the public. In summary, Northern Mariana Island slot machine casino gambling consists of 7 commercial casinos, 5 on the island of Saipan and the remainder on San Jose on the island of Tinian. Cruise ship casinos are open while docked. Remember to sign up at courses.professorslots.com to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts. 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast will include a live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from noon until 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy to remember link to my YouTube channel is youtube.com/professorslots. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long live Q&A session. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is another brief overview of the current state of gambling in the U.S. state, territory, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. state of Ohio. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are on my website at professorslots.com/episode 148. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.